Welcome to another ARMS Nintendo Switch news roundup. Pretty much I cover all of the latest ARMS news in this series. And yeah, I've got a lot of news to cover since my last roundup. So in my last roundup I talked about the final boss for ARMS. Now I think in that video I was referring to a different boss. But we did see the final boss in a direct. I did show some images of that in that video, but I was referring to a different boss, so I'm not sure whether there will be multiple bosses in the Grand Prix mode for ARMS, or whether the final boss does have multiple arms. It does look like a different boss. I'm not sure whether there is multiple bosses within the Grand Prix mode, or whether what we have seen is just one boss, the final boss in the Grand Prix mode. And speaking about the final boss, some people have got an interesting theory on who the final boss is, and I am definitely supporting that theory. I am definitely fully behind that theory. Pretty much people are saying that the final boss looks a lot like Biff, so the final boss in the Grand Prix mode will be Biff. I definitely see that, just because if you look at Biff and the final boss, they look really similar. Sort of looks like a hybrid between Springman and Biff. We haven't seen Biff's body, we haven't seen Biff like in his full form. Or what we have seen is his head. So who knows, maybe the final boss will be the character that has been telling us details about the game. I think that would be pretty cool if Biff did turn out to be the final boss. I guess we don't have long to find out who the final boss is, just because the game does come out on the 16th of June, which is around about 2 weeks away now. So don't have that long to wait to get our hands on the final game. Moving on to the next piece of news that I need to cover in this roundup, and that is Hoops and the Skillshot game modes will be in this week's Global Testpunch. Hoops will be replacing V-Ball. I think Skillshot will be replacing the target shooting warm-up game mode that we did have in the party sort of game mode. So there was like a warm-up game mode that you could do in between matches in the lobby. So I think the Skillshot game mode will be replacing that target shooting warm-up game mode. So Hoops and the Skillshot game modes will be in this week's Global Testpunch. I have already uploaded some Hoops gameplay onto my channel before. I will be uploading some Skillshot gameplay probably later on today. So Hoops and Skillshot will be in the Global Testpunch. Also, Nintendo will be adding in Min Min Stage to the Global Testpunch this weekend. Min Min Stage is known as the Raymond Bowl. Really am looking forward to playing on this brand new stage, as well as the brand new game modes Hoops and Skillshot this weekend. So you can actually play the warm-up game mode right now, even though the Global Testpunch is down. Pretty much if you change your internet settings on your Switch, if you connect to a proxy server, then pretty much you can play the warm-up game mode for around about 2.5 minutes, and pretty much the game will try and connect you online, and pretty much it will come up with an error message after 2.5 minutes saying that it can't connect to anybody online. So you've got about 2.5 minutes to play the warm-up game mode if you want to, outside of the Global Testpunch. I'll not be doing that, just because I'm not sure whether Nintendo will actually console ban people for doing that. I think it would be pretty stupid if they did do that sort of thing, but I guess the risk is there. So yeah, you can play the warm-up game mode outside of the Global Testpunch hours if you want to. I'm just not gonna spend the time just to do that. I'm not really that bothered about playing the warm-up game mode. So yeah, the next thing that I need to talk about in this video is that Ninjara and Min Min were the most popular characters in the last Global Testpunch, but the one with the biggest win rate was Mechanica. So I did use Min Min and Mechanica and Ninjara. I would say that I'm not surprised about Min Min being the most used character. I did see a lot of Min Mins. I did see a lot of Ninjaras as well. I didn't really use Ninjara as much as Min Min and Mechanica. Min Min and Mechanica are definitely my two favourite characters so far. I love the setups that they've got right now, but in the final game, every single character can use every single arm. So my favourite for Mechanica is the Whammer arm. So in the final game, as Ninjara, I could use that Whammer arm. So yeah, I'm not surprised about those stats. I guess Min Min and Ninjara, if they are the most popular, then I'm guessing you got people losing with those characters a lot. So that is, I guess, a reason why those two characters aren't the characters that do have the biggest win rate. I'm sure Mechanica, she was probably quite low down on that list, so I'm guessing she obviously has less of a chance to lose compared to Ninjara and Min Min. But I definitely did win quite a lot of matches with Mechanica, and it will be interesting to see what the stats are for next week's global Testpunch sessions as well. So the game does display a notification when the servers are under maintenance. We did see that in the global Testpunch. It was an indication that the global Testpunch was about to end for that hour. Also, another interesting detail is that the Grand Prix mode can be played at any time. So pretty much you can play the Grand Prix mode, you can leave the Grand Prix mode, and then when you go back to it at a later date, it will pick up from where you left off. So you don't have to do the Grand Prix mode all in one go. That is something which is a feature within other fighting games like Tekken. So in Tekken Tag Tournament 2, in the arcade mode, you had to do that all in one go. You had to do the arcade mode all in one sitting. But with the ARMS Grand Prix mode, you could do it in multiple sittings, which I think is a cool thing. Definitely something which I probably will take advantage of. And the last couple of things that I need to talk about in this video is that you can actually widen your grab by pretty much having the Joy-Cons face outwards, so sort of like in a V shape. And if you do that, if you swing your Joy-Cons down, then your grab will have a much bigger reach. And yeah, definitely something which I didn't really take advantage of in the last global Testpunch. Definitely something which I will do in this weekend's global Testpunch. So you can actually widen your grab reach. And the last thing is something which a lot of people have noticed, and that is that you can change your character's skin by pressing down on the left stick on the left Joy-Con, and pretty much pressing it down in either, I do believe it is the left, up or right directions. I do believe down just picks the same skin, or just picks like the default skin. So if you press down either left, up or right on the left thumbstick, then pretty much you can change your character's skin, which yeah, I love all the different skins. I'm just the sort of guy that just sticks to the default skins, but I probably will use Mechanica's Diva skin, as I like to call it, like the pink skin. Definitely makes her look more like Diva from Overwatch. Diva is my my second main. Torbjorn is my first character that I use the most, and then it's Diva. Definitely do love Diva, so yeah, I will be using the pink skin for Mechanica quite a lot. So yeah, that concludes everything that I need to talk about in this ARMS roundup. Let me know your thoughts about Biff being the final boss. Do you think Biff is the final boss in ARMS? And let me know some of the characters that you thought were OP. Do you think there are characters that are OP in the game? I didn't think there were. Let me know your favourite characters that you like to use as well. But that is it for this video, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.